The UFC 302 pre-fight press conference just recently wrapped up, and in today's video, I'm going to recap the entire press conference. It definitely wasn't good. I would say it was a subpar and kind of mediocre press conference. There was fun moments for sure, but there was not very much magic to it. It lacked this certain pop, and I do think it was kind of a rushed press conference. It was only like 20-something minutes. There was only 4 fighters on stage. It featured Strickland, Paulo Costa, the special 5-round co-main event, and then obviously the main event, Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier. They didn't have Kevin Holland up there with Oleksiejczuk, though Oleksiejczuk maybe didn't really speak any English, which is why they kept Holland off the stage. I think there could have been some fun back and forths, maybe even between Strickland and Holland, if you put them on the stage with one another. I don't know, it just gave me a feel of being rushed, kind of half-assed, for a lack of a better term, but I'm going to talk about it in depth. We're going to go through the whole thing and react to it all, so make sure you guys smash the likes, and if you're new, subscribe. The first question, straight out the gate, it went to Islam Makhachev, the champ, and the crowd started booing and chanting, USA, USA. I guess maybe I'm one of the few Americans that's like an Islam Makhachev fan more than I am a Poirier fan. Islam was asked, where does he rank Dustin as far as his past opponents? Islam, he shouts out the crowd, what's up, guys? And he pretty much just said, I think I'm the best fighter in the world. It's going to be a bad day for Dustin Poirier. And he mentioned something that is an absolute fact. The biggest problem Poirier tends to have is against very good wrestlers and grapplers. And Makhachev is both of those things. Islam was then asked about Dustin Poirier, saying all he had to do was touch that Makhachev chin and he's going to go down. And then he pretty much was asked, like, what are you expecting from him on Saturday? And then Makhachev said, I respect him, but when he's faced the high-level wrestlers and grapplers, same thing he essentially said right before, he always has problems. He mentioned Khabib, Charles Oliveira, truthful statements. The guys who give Poirier significant issues have that grappling factor. Now, sure, you know, he got caught with a high kick by Gaethje, but that's a once-in-a-million technique. I doubt if they fought for a third time, he's getting high kick KO'd. A lot's at stake here for Poirier, and he's taking on a guy who on paper is a horrible matchup for him. I understand the fans are hype on it, and obviously Poirier, you know, he has some confidence in himself, but Makhachev, he's that guy. Now, the crowd ended up chanting a little bit and kind of cut Islam Makhachev off at the end of this. And then Dustin was asked about fight week and how that this fight week compared to other title fight weeks and title fights. He mentioned how it's not about revenge and he's looking to get ahead. Very trademark Dustin Poirier type answer. He wants to become pound for pound, to become undisputed, and he wants to write the story the right way. This is something I've been hearing so much. I want to write the story the right way. This is the UFC. This is not fairy tale. Okay? And I know a lot of you guys watching are like, damn, yeah, Poirier, it makes perfect sense. He's undefeated in June. Costa curse, yada dee, yada do. The game is fucking cruel. Tony Ferguson was once the guy thought of to beat Khabib. And look at him now. What's he lost? 7 fights in a row? The game is cruel. Anderson Silva's career fell apart after his leg snapped, right? So the game is not about magically writing storybooks. And this is not a Cinderella story. This is the fucking fight game. And it's vicious. Not that there's a 0% chance that Poirier could land the perfect punch, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I don't think it's going to happen. Dustin was asked about Islam. Does he think he's the pound for pound best? And, you know, Poirier said, yeah, pound for pound #1. He's the best. We'll find out Saturday, though. And Poirier wants to be the guy that tests that savage status that Makhachev holds. And then he was also asked, Dustin Poirier was asked, if Islam has the trait to be a killer, be killed type of fighter. And then Poirier said, yes, he's a finisher. The fight is not going distance. Someone's going down. And it'll be a pleasure to find out who. And I think it is going to be a submission win for Makhachev. You guys know all my picks. Come on. You know the side I'm on. Dustin was asked, what does it mean to have the fan support? You guys know with the damn pressers, some of the questions are just crap, yo. Some of the questions are just a waste. Like, I get it, the fanfare. We hear him cheering. Poirier's going to say, I love my fans. He said it's been a long road. He thanks his fans for supporting him along the way from the bottom all the way up to the top, you know, essentially. As I'm fumbling over my words, to be honest, guys, I got to take a sip of coffee. This is the press conference reaction. We're having a great time. I'm sipping it. What I'll say is something interesting. The UFC debut for Dustin Poirier is something that I will always remember. So a mutual friend of my dad's knew Josh Grisby, and that was the first opponent of Poirier. He was actually filling in on short notice, was Poirier, replacing Jose Aldo. Grisby was supposed to be in a title shot with him. And then I just never forgot Poirier whooping his ass for 3 rounds. So I've watched Poirier since the start of his UFC career. And he's had a fantastic run. He's a great fighter. I just don't think he beats a guy like Makhachev. Now then, Makhachev was asked about the guillotine. He's asked, is he tempted to pull a ghillie himself? And Islam said yes. And he said that Poirier's guillotines always look bad, and Islam has to teach him how to do it right. I thought that was pretty funny. And then Poirier said the Ghillie Goose Gang is not taking applications. To be honest, Poirier, he's in the Ghillie Goose Gang, but the high-level jits of that gang's guillotines, not there. Even though it looks nice on paper, and I'm sure he gets it in the training room a fair amount, Dustin Poirier is not known for finishing fights with guillotines. He's known for pulling guillotines and getting put on his back and beaten up. It was tight against Khabib, though, to be fair. Strickland was then asked a question, and it was if Paulo can give him a war or if he's going to win comfortably. Sean says he doesn't know how much secret juice Paulo has in him, but he's going to get his ass beat, and that Paulo's only chance is a lucky KO. He also said he's going to beat his dick into the dirt, little homoerotic interaction there, but he's not going to dry hump him like Izzy did, though. So that's good. I'm glad we don't have to see that on fucking national television. Paulo says after the fight, we'll get some secret juice for you. We'll get the secret juices to change his look. He's essentially saying that Sean Strickland's got to put on some gains, man. Strickland says he likes Costa, and we're going to bleed for you guys. Appreciate the crowd. Kind of a typical Sean Strickland, calling to the crowd, saying they're going to go to war. They're going to fight to the death. Costa said he loves the energy in Jersey. These guys are low-key best pals pre-fight. They got very much like friend vibes with one another. It's a very buddy-buddy interaction. I wouldn't be surprised if they would have hugged afterwards. Holy shit. But Costa's excited for a great fight. And then there was a random question asked if Sean is tempted to drink Paulo's secret juice. And he just says no. With USADA, Sean, he's ready to die. He's ready to bleed for the fans. He just kept saying that over and over again. He said it several times. Costa was asked if Sean, saying he's better everywhere and that he only wins with luck, if there's some truth to that. Costa's claiming he's more well-rounded than Sean Strickland. He specifically pointed out his kicking skills. And he also mentioned he's got ground game. Nobody respects the jiu-jitsu. He said Strickland's about the jab and the straights. And that Costa's going to show up Saturday and kind of silence everybody. Strickland does have great jabs, though. Let's see how Costa can do. I do think Costa with kicks is a major factor. I think he could rock Sean Strickland. I do think Costa by knockout is a very viable outcome in this matchup. I don't think it's out of this world, man. I'm picking it against the grain. Strickland seems confident. I think they're going to go to war. I think Costa has a legit chance. Poirier was then asked about the 25 minutes to finish the story, and then how does he think it goes down? He says Poirier by KO. Islam says last month he talked about his career being over. He jumped in here after the question was asked to Poirier, and he feels bad about it. He feels bad that he's going to have to end Dustin Poirier like this. He said this is his last chance. And he's essentially trying to say that Poirier having his mind thinking towards retiring from mixed martial arts is not focused in on the fight and definitely far from optimal. Poirier said he's going to pry the belt out of the hands of Islam Makhachev. Now, Anik then was asked where Dustin's, finishing story ranks in MMA history. He gave a pretty politically correct answer, which he had to. He said he's a Hall of Famer, and he, pretty much doubts the betting odds as wide as they are. You can never count out Dustin Poirier. Another question for Sean Strickland. And then it was asked about what would his rise to the top look like this time. Sean went out and said pretty much that the Dricus fight was a robbery. He said, everybody knows I beat Dricus. I went to Canada and got robbed in the dirty country. He also called out Justin Trudeau, the prime minister there. And he said he's going to beat Costa and win his belt back. Costa jumps in. You won't beat me Saturday. Makhachev barbs in, roasting Brazilian fighters. This is something that I feel like maybe got overlooked a little bit. I don't know if everybody noticed. He said, finally, Brazilian fighters speaking English. Respect, man. Because a lot of Brazilian fighters don't ever learn the language. Like, obviously, stars like Oliveira and Pereira don't even know it. But Costa, he's got some English to him. Strickland, again, he thanks the fans. He's at a very fan-orientated press conference. Everything was thank the fans, thank the fans. Costa said he loves Strickland. And he looks for the best for his country. He likes that about him. And then Costa said, you know, I'm here for the Latin Americans too. Strickland, he said something funny. He said, we're waiting to build the wall. That was good. That was good. Costa mentioned the secret juice and that Strickland needs some after the fight. And he like flexed his physique, pretty much saying you're not going to look like this. And also said Sean Strickland needs a wife or a girlfriend. Strickland, you know, a nuclear family type of guy, says, you know, one of the great accomplishments a man can have is a wife and family. And then Strickland pretty much said, I can't wait to make Costa's face a little bit uglier. And then Costa's like, no, you will not. Another question for Anik came in, and it was about who has more to gain here in this co-main event between Strickland and Costa. And the answer was Costa, because he's jumping far up the ranks to take on the former champ, who had a somewhat controversial loss, at least very competitive. And, you know, people are on both sides of the argument against du Plessis. So there is a lot of gain for him. Costa's saying he's getting the number one contender spot and he's pulling through. And then Strickland absolutely mogs Luke Rockhold. He had to just rip Rockhold apart. He says he want to dig Rockhold out of the grave so Costa can look good again. That was pretty funny. Poirier was asked if he'll be satisfied with his career. And then is this fight the make or break? And he pretty much said that he's still thinking about it, right? He's still contemplating it. He's been sitting on it. He's trying to find his satisfaction with his career in himself. And then Islam was funny. He said, Dustin, why are you so nervous? Relax, enjoy, let's have fun. And you could tell Poirier got visibly bothered by this. He said, you know, what's this dude talking about? And you can kind of tell by the look in his eyes, this bothered him. Makhachev annoyed him a little bit with that. He's like, man, shut up. Makhachev was then asked about how he said that the team of Poirier and Poirier has no faith that he's going to beat him, beating Makhachev, of course. And Makhachev says, you know, of course, Poirier always looks good with striking guys, but not wrestlers. Poirier then butts in, and he's saying that his coaches should look to have him box. And then Makhachev jumps back. Wrestlers always gave him trouble. And then Poirier, you know, says it again. You know, he should listen to his coaches and he should box with me. And Makhachev dropped a badass line here. Makhachev said this is not boxing, it's MMA. But then Poirier came back with fire. He said, yeah, but I'm going to sleep you like it's boxing. Then Makhachev smiled. He says, we'll see. We'll see. And then he said, if you don't tap, you will sleep. Pretty badass and cold line Makhachev dropped there. I like that from Makhachev. There was a good back and forth. That was one of the more fun moments of the press conference. Poirier seemed annoyed at this. Poirier seemed pissed. He seemed bothered. It seems like Makhachev irritated him a little bit in this back and forth. Makhachev was asked what it's like to be the bad guy and upset everyone. Makhachev essentially, you know, didn't avoid the question. He just chose not to answer with the language barrier. There's certain things that, you know, get misunderstood, but he said he'll be champ for many years. Essentially, he said, get used to me being here whether you like me or not, which I respect. Strickland was then asked about can Costa handle the USA Sean Strickland? I guess it's because Strickland last time fought in Canada. Strickland said he's happy to be back in America. He, you know, mentioned the Jersey gun laws need work and essentially said it's a communist state. And the crowd started chanting, USA, USA, USA. Then we jump back to Makhachev, and Makhachev was asked a question in Russian, so we had to sit and wait. And it was about him not being welcome in America and feeling the boos. He said, I fought all over. I've heard the boos. And he called everybody to visit Russia, and we'll give him a Russian welcoming. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. I don't know if he meant we'll show him how to welcome foreigners in a good way, or if he meant it in like a kind of threatening type of way. I'm not so sure. I'm going to take it as a positive because Makhachev's pretty chill, but I don't know. I don't know. Very weird one. That was interesting. There was, I don't know. There was like some depth to that. I don't know exactly how he meant it, but it came off a little weird. Dustin was asked about Makhachev taking a shot on him at the, or in the recent Embedded episode. He said how he wants a diamond on his belt instead of a ruby after this one, which I thought was funny. Okay. And I think it makes sense. I believe if Makhachev wins, let's put a diamond on his belt. He beat the diamond, he should get a diamond. Forget this ruby. Poirier says he just wants the whole belt, man. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about that. He's focused purely upon getting this damn world title. And I know Poirier is so close to the belt. Like, he can almost taste the world title. He's dreaming. Please, please let this be the fight where I win the damn UFC world title. Please. New UFC gloves, they're smaller. Like, hey, maybe more of a chance for knockout. 25% smaller, 4 ounces to 3 ounces. These gloves are small. More cuts are possible. Maybe this is the fight for the puncher's chance. Strickland and Costa were both asked about when do things get serious, pretty much alluding to how they, were joking around with each other during the entire presser. And then Costa said, He's going to take me serious. You know how he talks. And then he said he's a smart guy and knows how dangerous I am. And Strickland said Costa's done more trolling than fighting as of late, but that Costa can fight and sometimes hits hard. And, just because they can laugh and joke back and forth doesn't mean they're not going to get inside the cage with one another and try to kill each other. So you know what? Pretty typical Sean Strickland answer, and it's true. Even though they're going back and forth, joking around, don't think these guys are bestest buddies. They're going to war with one another, and I think it's going to be a tremendous fight. I think the co-main event's going to be a banger. I really like the Costa and Strickland matchup. I'm really excited to see it all unfold. With Makhachev Poirier, I just feel like it's more predictable. I think Makhachev gets him down. Makhachev was then asked about staph infection. This damn staph infection gate going around the world. Everybody's talking about Makhachev having staph, but really, Costa might have staph on his foot. Makhachev said, "Don't worry, guys. I trained hard. It was a great camp. I will be 100%. Essentially saying, no, I don't have staph. There's nothing you should worry about. Does he have staph or not? I guess time will tell, but could have just been a bruise on his leg or a scab, to be fair. And then Strickland was asked about if he would be willing to fight Dricus du Plessis in Perth, Australia. Very quick turnaround for that card. I believe it's in August. Strickland says Dricus knows he lost, and that's why he wants the rematch. So he said, with a win here against Paulo Costa, he'll do the right thing. He'll jump in on short notice and fight for the world title, which is very Sean Strickland. And I think with a win over Costa, he could easily jump into the world title picture again and get a shot pretty instantaneously. I know Khamzat Chimaev is kind of the guy they want to move in the needle towards that, top contender spot if he beats Rob Whittaker. But there's some in-betweens. There's some things. Now, the face-off was pretty chill between Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa. When we got to it, crowd chanting USA. They were cool with each other. Handshake, respectful face-off. Nothing to note. Now, Makhachev and Poirier was actually very intense, and they got a little bit testy with one another. The back and forth was there, and Makhachev got mad at something. Now, I initially couldn't decipher, but I went on Twitter, and I found out that Poirier called him a motherfucker, and Makhachev said, "Don't say motherfucker to me." In some different cultures, saying motherfucker is a lot more directed at the mother, whereas like in America, we're like, "You motherfucker, we're just talking shit," right? It's more of a joke. Or if it is mean, it's not intended at the mother, it's intended at you. But when you're talking to somebody from like Russia or Brazil, we've seen it on The Ultimate Fighter before, certain guys from different places of the world have a different reaction to motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And that was why Makhachev seemed legit offended, and he was like, "Yo, no, don't say motherfucker to me." He was mad. He was really upset. It was an intense face-off. The fight is legit. The fight is hyped. There's no changes in confidence on any of the picks for me as far as how the press conference went. I'm picking Paulo Costa in the co-main. He looked confident as I've seen. I'm picking Makhachev in the main. He looks confident as ever. Poirier seemed a bit riled. If there's anybody on the stage that seemed bothered a bit, it was Dustin Poirier. And I think Poirier knows he is in for a very difficult fight against Islam Makhachev, and I think he's going to get taken down and beaten. It's not boxing. Makhachev said it. This is MMA. And where Makhachev shines, I think Poirier struggles, and that is the ground game. The press conference was not sick. The face-off was okay. It was okay. I'm telling you, it was like rushed. Like, it didn't feel good. I think that we needed Dana White there. John Anik did not fill the shoes for this one. I just think Dana White would have been a better fit. What the fuck is this? Dust on my damn shirt. Holy shit. I think it would have been better with Dana White. I think that's what should have happened. I think that's who should have been there. Maybe some Dana White questions would have made it more fun. Overall, pretty mediocre, man. I'll give it like a C plus if I'm feeling generous. Very average presser. Some fun moments, but nothing spectacular. Not like a McGregor presser. Not like a Colby Covington presser. Not even like a typical Sean Strickland presser. This is no beef between Costa and Strickland. So, I don't know. I think they could have made it a little bigger. Maybe if they would have put Kevin Holland on there, it could have had some funny barbs. But I guess that wasn't their intention. They didn't want no potential backstage altercation going down. But yeah, nothing changes as far as the confidence in certain directions. It was a pretty simple press conference. Again, the media doesn't ask the craziest questions. I'll always say I like the MMA YouTuber segment. We call in. Every MMA YouTuber has one question, or maybe they pick two. It's a random raffle. I don't know. It's not a bad idea. I'm not going to go fly out to every damn event to ask, but get me over FaceTime. Get me over Skype. Get me over Zoom. I can do it. And I'm sure some of the other MMA YouTubers could do it and be willing to, and I think that'd be more fun. The hard questions, I think, could get some crazy-ass answers instead of the, typical by-the-book, This is what we ask. It's almost like a damn job interview sometimes. Is what it is. Overall, the card's going to be incredible. The press conference was mediocre, but I promise you the fights will be better than the damn press conference, which is a good thing. I'd rather have great fights in a shitty presser than the flip. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the press conference reaction. Make sure you guys smash the likes. Let me know. Who do you guys think won the press conference? If I have to be honest, Makhachev won the presser for me. Makhachev is the overall winner. Not who won between the two. The overall press conference winner was Islam Makhachev. He looked calm, confident. He had some funny lines. And I think he made Poirier a little bit feisty. And to me, getting him angry is a win. So Makhachev is my winner. Let me know, guys. I appreciate you all. Smash the likes on your way out. If you're new, subscribe. And thank you guys for supporting. Daily content coming, so keep it locked in. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.